What's up, Team Jellyfish? Okay, here we go. Music Theory Monday, number 3. All right, now do me a favor. Promise me you're going to drop questions when you're confused. Drop comments. Let me know. This is a brand new format, but stick around to the end because I am going to hop on the guitar really quick and just give you some ideas of how to actually apply this. So I'm going to write all over this, so pay attention. Well, you're going to see it happening, but watch this. We're going to go on yellow here, around the circle of fifths. Why do they call it the circle of fifths? Well, because we're moving in perfect fifth intervals, or intervals of perfect fifths, all right? Now, what does that mean? Well, week 1, we did the key of C. From C to G is a perfect fifth interval. Week 2, we did the key of G. G to D is a perfect fifth interval. And here we are, what we're going to focus on this week, which is the key of D. Now, really important. Here's one takeaway I need you to have burned in your brain. Key of D on the top right has 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. And you're going to see how this is important because at the bottom, you're going to see where I wrote Ionian major and Aeolian minor. Don't worry about that yet, but this is going to be important to know this. You also see how I wrote out the Roman numerals. You'll see some lowercase and some uppercase. We're going to explain all that too. But back to this. So this week, we're in the key of D. So we're going to look at D to A is a perfect fifth. D to A is a perfect fifth. So if you're looking at your guitar, if you play a D and an A, it's a perfect fifth interval. We all learn that as beginners and not even knowing what we're playing. And you know, remember when they teach you power chords on the guitar? Like with the root on the low E or the low A? And then you play the other string 2 frets up. That's a perfect fifth interval. So let's just write that on here to kind of burn that in our brain. So the generic name is a fifth. Now let's go over here to the center, perfect fifth. So you'll notice I have the Roman numeral 1 and 5, uppercase, right? We're going to write in red. The root is obviously what? Well, the key we're in, D. D is the root. And I wrote that in red for this reason. If you've watched a lot of my videos or if you're going to watch any moving forward and I'm making you charts, I'm always going to put the root in red. And I'm going to put like the 3rd in blue and the 5th in black. Well, we're talking about the root to the 5th. In this case, it's A. So D to A is a perfect fifth. And this is really how you learn this stuff. You just got to start writing this stuff down, breaking it down. Come here, I got you covered. Ask me questions if you're confused. Now, let's connect it to the bottom. Let's move on to that. This is kind of how we apply this in the real world. Now, you see these fancy words. I'm going to highlight right here. You see Ionian. That is just the fancy word for major scale, all right? Now, I'd like to think of the major scale as the blueprint for everything, right? So always you need to learn the reason we have these Roman numerals. Let's focus on this one. You see how the 1, the 4, and the 5 are uppercase? Well, those are major. So those are going to be major chords. And I'm going to write this out and show you in just a minute. And then the smaller ones, 2, 3, 6 is super important. We'll get to that in a minute. And then the 7, those are minor, all right? But let's do this. Before we write out all the notes in the key of D major, let's go up here to the inside of the circle, and you'll see, I'm going to circle these in, let's circle them in gray. You'll see how I wrote A, E, and B. And I'm going to go up here. Those are the relative minors. Relative minor, okay? The relative minor is super important. You really want to learn, you want to memorize, okay, when I'm in the key of C, the relative minor is A. When I'm in the key of G, the relative minor is E. Well, in this case, we're in the key of D, our relative minor is B. So you remember when you're younger and they show you that minor pentatonic shape? So when you're in the key of C, they're going to show you an A minor pentatonic scale, or G, an E minor pentatonic. So in this case, D and then B minor. All right, so let's write it out down below. And I want to show you this. I need to make you aware of this. D major and B minor, natural minor scale, they share the exact same notes, okay? And this is where people get confused with modes and those fancy names. You start hearing things like, oh, Mixolydian and Dorian and Phrygian. What is that? Well, let's just work off of the major scale, and then I'm going to highlight down below. Again, ask me questions if you're confused. In yellow, Aeolian is the fancy modal name for the minor scale. But let's do this. Let's write out all the notes in the key of D major. So we're going to look down here at the bottom, get my pen tool. I'll just write them in black. So the 1 chord is major. So the 1 chord is also called the root. That's another thing that gets very confusing in music. Some people talk about the exact same thing using 2 terms. So one of your bandmates might say, hey, we're in the key of D, play the 1 chord. Another person's just they'll start off playing the root. Well, all right, so D is the 1 chord of the root. All right, and then the 2 is going to be what? E. And then the 3 is F sharp. Now, I told you this is why you want to know how many sharps are in each key. Some people might write D, E, F, but it's actually F sharp, all right? And then what's the 4 chord? D, E, F, and then we got a G. And then we've got an A. And then it goes to the relative minor. I'm going to just drop this in pink since it's right up here. That's the relative minor. That is B minor. And then the 7, the minor 7 flat 5, which we're not going to get into too much. That is obviously going to be C sharp. Okay, now let's just do this. Since we're here, let's look at the relative minor, which is right here. I'm going to highlight that again for you so you know where I am, right here in pink. Now it looks red, the minor. Now, here's what you do. You start on the 6th note of the major scale when you start writing out the natural minor scale. So what's the 6th note? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, look at that. It's B. B minor, right? So you just write in order. So watch this. You just go, look, you tell me if you see any different notes, okay? So let's just write that out. We've got B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, right? G, and then we've got A, and then back to B. So this is what I want you to burn in your brain today. At the very least, I want you to remember that the key of D, let's go back up here to the top right of the chart, the key of D has how many sharps? 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Really important. If you can remember too, that the relative minor is B minor. So that's what that is on the inside here, all right? And B is also the 6th note in the Ionian or major scale. All right, so minor scale is Aeolian, and they share the same notes. So you know when you're starting to play music, someone could be playing in the key of D, you could be playing a B minor pentatonic or a B natural minor scale. And that's what I'm going to hop over to the guitar and show you real quick. All right. So again, remember the circle of fifths. We're moving around the wheel in perfect fifth intervals, the distance between 2 notes. And are there other intervals? Of course there are. There's all kinds of other intervals, but we need some kind of home base, some kind of foundation to work off of. All right. That'll complete this part of it. So drop me any questions, drop me comments. What did you guys think of this? Was it a little more helpful to have this chart up big and I kind of go through it and explain it? I kind of dig this idea too. I think it's going to help you burn some of this information in your brain. Now, at the bottom here, that's what we're going to do is I'm going to take, now that I wrote out the Ionian or the major scale, D, E minor, F sharp minor, G, A, B minor, C sharp, minor 7 flat 5. We're not going to worry about that as much. So let's see if we can come up with a little chord progression. And then let's see if maybe we can use B natural minor, something like that. I'm just going to grab the acoustic to kind of cement this, and then you're going to take this information and run with it. I'll put this chart, it's going to be all marked up. I'll put it for download. It's linked in the description. I'm also going to throw it up on the screen just in the corner here while I'm playing the acoustic. All right, so let's go ahead, hop over to that. And then in next week for Music Theory Monday number 4, we're going to study the key of A because we're going to move around the wheel in perfect fifth intervals. And we'll get to that when we get to it. So let's go check that out. And here we go. Okay, here's that chart we just marked all over. So drop any questions, any comments. Go back and watch it again. This is like a long-term journey. This is a cumulative process. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to get your guitar, So if you look at those Roman numerals at the bottom, that's what it is. What we're really trying to figure out is how to write out all the chords in the major scale. So we got D, the 1, okay? The reason that, remember that's uppercase, that's Roman numeral 1, major. Minor, E minor, lowercase 2, then lowercase F sharp minor. Remember, F sharp and C sharp are in the key of D, okay? And then we've got G, the 4 chord. We got A, the 5 chord. There's your 5th. Remember, D to A. There's a perfect 5th interval. Okay? And then we've got the relative minor, super important, B minor. And then we've got the minor 7, flat 5, C sharp minor. Good luck using that one. But get creative with it. No rules in music. Now, here's what you can do. Take this chart, look at that, create a little chord progression. Let's start with the 1 chord. Let's maybe do a 1, 3, 5. Now there's your Nashville numbering system. Nashville guy might be like key of D, 1, 3, 5. And you're gonna go, oh, okay. 1 chord's D, oh, the 3's F sharp minor, and then A is the 5. So it sounds like this. Let's see. 1, 3, 5. All right, so that's just one variation of a million you can do. You create a chord progression. Maybe you start on the 6. Maybe you go 6, 1, 5. So what's the 6? B minor. See, 6, 1, G, 5. So let's try this. Let's go B minor, 1, 5, B minor, D, A. Now, why did I write out the natural minor below? Remember how I said that's all the same notes? Okay, if you play up here on the B, the natural minor, all the way through, you're gonna see those are all the same notes. Now, when you strip those away to pentatonic 5, you got the B minor pentatonic right there. You could play that over any of these chord progressions in this key. You following me? So that's how this stuff starts connecting the dots. All right, so let's try this. D, 1, to the 5, to the 6. Okay. Right, what was I doing there? I was just playing a little lick out of the B minor pentatonic. It's the relative minor. All right, so I want you guys to run with this. I don't need to sit here and go over all the combinations, but download that chart. If you want the clean version, let me know. But I wanted to mark all of it. Did you like this format? Was this a little bit more helpful? Again, I needed to hop on guitar to at least give you some real world context of how this works. So it's not just like learning theory and it's all disconnected. All right, if you made it this far, drop jellyfish in the comments, drop your favorite sea creature. I want you guys to just have fun with this stuff. Theory doesn't have to be awful. Do you need to know theory to be a great player? You do not, but is it a little more empowering when you do know it? Yes. All right, so I'll see you in week number 4, Music Theory Monday number 4. Let me know what you thought of this. I think it's kind of cool. I gotta put that new iPad to use somehow. All right, so see you in the next video. Only you can stop you. You're not gonna stop. Peace.